All right. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. We are back with the second episode unofficially of the Real Estate Agent Safety Net. And again, what we're talking about here today is building a financial safety net as a real estate agent. It's a challenge I know that I've certainly experienced in my 25 years in the business now. And many agents like me have had that similar struggle of how do we build a financial plan around a commission-based business that's subject to external forces? And of course, a lot of us suffered in 2020, due to the pandemic and the closures, statewide closures around the country. So it's an important topic to think about, and more importantly, how do we offer some solutions around that? How do we get off of that hamster wheel, if you will? How do we build something that would be a safety net from those external forces that can affect your business and your ability to save or create wealth over time? So I am super excited today to introduce my good friend Tony Defalco from Delray Beach area in Florida, my first and best friend from eXp Realty. We probably don't have time, Tony, today to unpack the story of how you and I met each other and how we blessed each other in these last couple of years. But would definitely like to have you talk about a little bit about your background in real estate. What have you done in real estate in the past? And then, of course, we'll bring it forward after that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Scott, I'm glad we met, and we'll discuss that at a later time how we met. But it's been a mutual benefiting relationship for both of us, friendship and in business
For
as
sure.
well. But I've been in this real estate business now, not quite as long as you, Scott, but 21 years in the real estate business. And, this business is a business that can go up and down, globally, like we had in 06, 07, 08, 09, throughout the whole country, real estate just collapsed. And then, we're in the high mark now where it seems like you can't keep a property on the market. So I love that you're doing this show because agents, when things are great, they don't see the holes in their business or their finances. It's running and commissions are flowing in and everyone's happy. But I've been, unfortunately, or maybe blessed with going up and down because I really had the from hindsight and what happened back then, it lets me know now that I have to be financially secure. So 21 years of the business, massively successful from a young age, got up to about $30 million in real estate sales by the year 2006. And then in 2007, that dropped down to about $2 million in real estate sales. And in 1 year, massively dropped. I couldn't do anything right those years. Had never dealt with foreclosures or BPOs or REOs or, short sales and all the other different factors that you had to become a master of to really make it in that market. And because I wasn't secure then, I had a lot of difficulties in personal life, financial life, things like that. So I guess probably about 2009, I was telling my wife at the time, I will absolutely build a business that I can work from wherever. I'm not tied down geographically. And I had been searching for it. I was really searching for this business. Paul Saperstein, a business partner of mine down here, and we looked at creating apps at $10 a month and giving some services. And how can we make the cash register ring while we're sleeping? And we never really was able to crack that. Sold my real estate business in 2008 to a partner, rebuilt again in 2015, started back in the brokerage business, opened an exit realty office in late 2016. And I realized that the franchise model was broken. So I literally sold that office out and went to a mom and pop. And during that time, I was introduced to a gentleman by the name of George Philbeck by his sister-in-law, who I was trying to bring George into my company, my mom and pop company. And he introduced me to eXp Realty. I had seen it because when I was building my mom and pop, I looked at all the different platforms but I glanced over it, and I wish I would have really took a look at that moment, but I didn't. It's okay. It's all in timing. And then I, saw it in 2017 with George, just opened the business. Took me a year to transition over to make the decision to, merge my real estate company into this company, which was less than a dozen agents. And 31 months later, we cracked 300 agents. We're in well over a dozen states. I don't know how many states. And more than that, I have 55,000 friends in EXP, Scott, you being one of them. And
Right.
you've adopted my family. I've adopted your family. And one great thing is, yes, it's wonderful that I have that safety net, but we've created a system within a platform at EXP Realty where our agents are producing 2 to 1 on average. We have a 70% success rate of agents doing transactions where the market's really 25 to 35%. So it's wonderful earning while helping others.
Yeah, that speaks to your commitment to the training and success of the partners that you have. But let's go back a couple steps here. So last week we had a fellow Floridian on, Mitch Riback, and his story was that he brought his brokerage over as well with about 40 agents, now currently almost 1,400 agents. So you just said that when you merged your business into EXP, you had about a dozen agents, and now that equals 300 agents over these last few years.
And not taken away from Mitch. I love him. Mitch is a great guy. Believe it or not, on the growth rate of our group at about 10% per month, we'll be where Mitch is in about 16 months. So it's just amazing as it's growing. And Scott, you've known me since day one when I had probably 20, 25 agents in the group. And it's like a snowball rolling down the hill to become an avalanche. At the very beginning, it's slow. It's not getting much momentum, slow pace. You don't see a lot of growth. You get discouraged easily. And then before you know it, you're bringing on 4 or 5 agents a day. And it's not me personally, it's my partners. Scott, that's one thing I did want to share. Owning this international real estate team within the platform of EXP Realty, we've only brought in about 35 of those 300 agents. So my agents multiplied at a pace of about 9.5 to 1. And that's only the beginning. And in the next 7 months, that would double to about 18 to 1 and 36 to 1. So your small efforts on blessing others, giving them this opportunity, multiplies as they bless others. And it's just been tremendous. And the partners I have in the business, they're as thankful as I am with the outcome we've done.
Yeah. That's the thing, is that everyone gets to share and partake in the success. But let's bring this back now to what that really means, right? We've been talking about agent count and this growth, but let's talk a little bit more about what that really means. And I know we can't get into specifics necessarily of the financials, but for instance, again, using the example from the last conversation, Mitch indicated his best year as an independent, he might have netted about $200,000. So when you were owning your exit franchise, would you say that sounds like a similar number? Or where were you at as far as net profitability with your business?
Mitch ran a really good independent. I guarantee he's in the top 5% of the independents at $200,000 per year. The exit office, remember, I built it from the beginning, built it to about 70 real estate agents in a 4.5 month period, and then sold the business to my partner. I just didn't like the rules of owning the franchise. I had things holding me back in the franchise that I didn't like, that's why I went independent. Now, EXP being a global brand, you would think, well, wouldn't it be the same as a franchise? But it's really not. There's no franchise owners. There's no one owning a certain territory. Scott, you're in Delaware. I'm in Florida, from Maryland. You could place agents in my area. I can place agents in your area, and we're one big fire. And for me, it worked out so much better. So,
So what that means, right? So I just want to get back again to helping those outside of EXP understand what we're really talking about, because what we're really talking about is this financial safety net. So Going back to the exit example, do you think you would have been able to scale to 300 agents?
It would have been difficult, and I would have had to buy other locations, other areas, more office space. It was just a different model. And
Capital investment, right?
where Mitch is, I guess I can say I'm as blessed as Mitch was with his independent, with only hiring 30 agents, not being liable for their E&O insurance, not being liable if they make a mistake on a contract, not having that heavy burden as the broker, and the same benefit as Mitch, very close to it, maybe a little better in only 31 months. Now, the difference is this.
So, yeah, it's not a comparison necessarily to your numbers and his. What I want to unpack really is what it
I'm
means.
talking about Mitch as a independent.
Yeah.
Mitch is $200,000 a year.
Right.
I've
Gotcha.
been able to create that with a lot less stress than Mitch had.
Right.
You know what I mean? And as an independent, Mitch could have never grown to where he is today. It's just impossible because of geographical boundaries. And Mitch will double again.
Yeah, right. So it's just getting started. And so we want to be clear that what's happening is that EXP is paying you on the production of those 300 agents, right? That's really what we're getting at. We're talking about not only scaling as far as body counts, but understanding that the EXP platform is actually paying you on those agents' productions, which is now conceivably providing some financial security for you and your family. Is that fair to say?
Scott, absolutely. I believe every person in here has a freedom number. It's the house you live in, the mortgage payment, or if your house is paid off, the cars you want to drive. Let's just say I've met my freedom number, and now it's all gravy. It's all fun.
Congratulations.
Real estate has become fun again.
So
it's hard work, Scott. It's not easy.
Yeah. Right.
But if you partner with the right people like Scott, the teams here, it is doable, and it's time on task over time. A little bit of work each day towards your goal, and it will grow. It's impossible not to grow.
Yeah. And so that's it right there. You said it in a nutshell, right? You have created financial freedom in a sense that your passive income through the EXP model is now covering your cost of living, right, for you and your family. So you now have a time freedom and location freedom that's typically not achievable for the average real estate agent who's, in the grind day over day, trying to help the next family, serve the next family, and hoping that those opportunities continue to come on a regular basis. But you now have created something through this model that has created a financial safety net for you and your family because it's not dependent just on your efforts, right? You're now getting paid on the efforts of many. So you now actually have a business.
No doubt about it. The business built on $1 billion platform, not a business that I have to speak and throw money. It's very expensive to run my business. It's $85 per month. It's crazy. I spend so much running this business.
Yeah. So let's jump over to the other side. So EXP is paying you passive income on the growth of what I like to call the modern team, right? Your revenue sharing organization. But there's another aspect to this model, right? So EXP is also giving agents ownership still in the company. Maybe speak to the experience that you have there, and maybe if there's some stories in your group that are meaningful to share around that, I think that'd be helpful to share with the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have obviously 300 people in the group. There are dozens and dozens and dozens that have 5-figure stock accounts. There's probably almost a dozen that have 6 figures in there, and there may be one, maybe 2 that have 7 figures in that account. 7 figures over $1 million. And remember, guys, this group that I created, that I didn't create, that came behind me after I came to the company, was not in existence in October of 2018. And there's agents in my group with hundreds and hundreds, over $500,000 in company stock. And yes, the stock that they're not purchasing is a 3-year vesting period. But guess what? As they're building that every month now, after the 3 years, there's more stock coming in. And Scott, I don't know if you've explained or not, but what do we have? 5 ways to earn stock in the company? Is that correct?
Yeah, we won't get into all the specifics of that, but I do think it's important, again, just from the perspective of building a safety net, right? Again, for the average agent like me, right, we are not good at investing, right? We're not good at setting aside those dollars to create a long-term plan. And shame on us for that, but I think it's important to point out that the EXP model has made it simpler for us to be able to grow something and sort of put it on autopilot and let it grow over time, which is what a good owner and a good investor should do, right? Just like in owning real estate, right? You buy and you wait, and so EXP is giving us an opportunity in ownership, in a publicly traded company, to not only earn those shares and awards on our production, where most companies give out a certificate, we're actually getting shares of stock, but also that we have this other plan where we can sort of set it and forget it and use our commission income to actually invest back into the company and create yet another layer of financial safety net to build over time.
Yeah, Scott, that's funny you say that. You're talking about the short term and the long term. Let's look at the short term of the average real estate agent. Now, Scott runs a massive, huge database, not that huge, but massive, definitely producing. So, Scott, you wake up each day as a real estate agent, not really concerned about the next year. You kind of know how many transactions you're going to do because you run your real estate business that way. Now, a lot of real estate agents are out there and they're kind of blindly shooting darts at things and they're making money, but they don't know how to duplicate it the next year or scale it. So most agents wake up. I'd say 95% of agents wake up January 1st and say, the ones that had a great year, oh my gosh, I had a great year, but how the heck am I going to duplicate that? So during the holidays when you should be sitting back, relaxing, having some cocoa with the family, you're stressed out about, quarter one of next year and your business plan, and you're hoping it's going to work, but you don't really know if it's going to work. And Scott, you're the second option. You built a great business within real estate sales, and you kind of have a good idea of what's going to happen for the next year. Then you got the third thing with this safety net. You have 300 real estate agents in multiple regions around the country and around the world. We're in Italy now. We're in different countries. I pretty much know next year what I'm going to make on the low end. Maybe not the high end, but on the low end. And it's a great feeling. For anyone that would rather run a business and own a business, I think you should really look at this platform. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. So fair to say that you went from from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain and now back again, thanks to specifically this particular model. And I think that's the other thing that I get so passionate about and sharing this type of message is there's so many of us, especially with any tenure, that lived through that crash, right? And we barely lived through it because I watched so many colleagues here locally. I've heard so many stories around the country of people who were at the top of their game and lost everything. I mean, quite literally lost everything from their marriage to their family to their homes and beyond. And it's heartbreaking, and it's so much more important now to see those of us like you and others now thriving and building something more permanent and not so temporary, which is what the average real estate game is, commission to commission. It's a temporary income. And this model has given us something that is a more permanent safety net against any of these external factors that can happen and impact our business from day to day or year to year.
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. In 21 years, I've never felt more secure this year. Even my first 2 years of the EXP, because remember, guys, I said it starts slowly. It doesn't start quickly. It rolls down a little bit. And there's money that comes in. It's wonderful. But it's not substantial at the beginning. But I've never been so secure of what my future brings. The Undercover Billionaire, the first season of the Undercover Billionaire, he speaks about it costs, I think, $3,300 to live in Erie, Pennsylvania for 3 months. He says, until you're meeting your basic needs, it's very hard to become creative to do the magic you want to do to build the business you want to build. So if we're always struggling or striving to make it with the one leg on the table, the real estate sales commission, it's going to be a little imbalanced. You're going to have ups and downs and sideways, and you're not going to produce at the highest level. Where if you can get more legs on that table, you have revenue share, you have stock, you have real estate commissions, but then also you have a network of 55,000 agents to give you real estate referrals from around the country. 4 legs, it's a much more stable table, and you're building something. The greatest salespeople in the world went into insurance because insurance pays residual incomes. Waking up every month with a paycheck is a great feeling, and I couldn't be happier, Scott. And I appreciate you having me on the show because you know how passionate I am for this, not for my family, only for my family, but for other families as well.
That's it. That's why we're here, right? We're here to share and help people understand. And sure, my goal is to share other ways, right? We can talk about investing in real estate, and we can talk about building a database and having a more sustainable business year over year. Again, for the average producers, right? And that's where I put myself, right, in the average producer realm. So how do I help and give some tips and share things that I've learned over my tenure in the business. But as part of that, this is a bigger and better opportunity, right? As we share all of those things, which are important, and ways to create a safety net, it's important to talk about what's happening at eXp Realty and how, as you said, you've already met your freedom number, right? Which is incredible. And I'm guessing that you woke up on January 1 of 2021, not really worrying about whether you were going to have a closing in January or not, right? Because you knew that you had the leverage of, you know, well over 200 people at that point, that you were going to receive income off of through eXp.
So, Scott, last year was a pretty good year of production as well. I did about $11 million in business. And I really did it the second half of the year because first half of the year, I was building the eXp team. Like I said, started much slower than I expected. I'm an overachiever. So I went back into production. And by December the 5th, I decided to take the remainder of December off. It's the first time in 21 years, Scott. Scott, when I was making $700,000 a year in the real estate business, I was so busy I didn't take the month of December off. I actually showed a home that year on Christmas Eve. So,
right,
give you the different mindset it is to have that security. It really has changed the whole picture for my family, time spent with the family. Like literally, I took off all of December, and it was an amazing, amazing feeling. And I wish that I hope everyone can experience that kind of financial freedom through the business.
Yeah, we live with so much pressure in our world, and I don't think folks outside of real estate understand it, and I don't think those of us inside the industry really stop to pay attention to how much pressure we put on ourselves, how much we sacrifice away from family and friends, you know, especially during pivotal times. And that story is a perfect one. We've all been out there on holidays. Pick a holiday. We've all been out there while the rest of the world is, you know, off and on vacation. We are opening the door or meeting with the client and sacrificing, you know, that special time. And so that's why, again, this is such an important message to talk about. Like, let's just be real for a minute. Like, let's stop wearing that as a badge of honor of like how busy we are, and understand that what we've really done is sacrificed, you know, time well spent with family and friends. And this is one way to get that back, right? To get some grace and balance and harmony back into your lifestyle.
And guys, one thing I want to share with you, 30 months, over 300 agents, so 10 agents a month on average. And I've brought in about 1 agent a month to make that happen, about 10 to 1. Guys, that took less than 5 hours per week. And it's paid over and over and over. And it's going to multiply. It's going to double. I can't stop it now.
You can't stop it now.
So,
right.
Follow-up call 7 months from now. We'll do it in 7 more months. And
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Imagine just working your real estate business 5 hours a week. Would you have any success? Most people wouldn't in 5 hours a week. If you are, bless you, but most people would not in 5 hours a week, less than 5 hours.
Oh, I lost your audio, Tony.
Oh,
there you are.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Now I wish I would have put 10 hours a week, Scott.
Yeah.
That's
so
my only
right.
regret, you know.
Let's just make that real, right? That's a great point. Like, how many folks in real estate can earn a multiple six-figure annual salary on 5 hours a week?
And paid over and over and over, guys. I could stop now and it's still paid next year.
Right.
It's incredible. It really is. So
that's what we call a real estate agent safety net. Perfect example.
I like the term, and I like to be included in this, Scott. And I'm thankful for people like you, Scott. You know, at the beginning, how hard it is to build a modern team. It seems easy, but it's work. It's having conversations, people telling you no. Maybe 3 years later, I have people telling me yes that told me no. And with friends like you, Scott, over the last 3 years, I know we've helped each other, support each other emotionally. Like, what would you do here? What would you do there? And I'll tell you this also, and you know, I don't know who's going to contact you for this call, or who needs to hear this. But I'll tell you what everyone tells me that has come over a year or 2 years after I first introduced it. They wish they would have come when I first called them. So do not have paralysis by analysis. Dive in, turn it over, look at it, evaluate it. And don't ask yourself, am I paying an extra $2,000 or $3,000 a year compared to where I am now? Ask yourself, if I could buy an international business on top of selling real estate in the same amount of hours and be compensated for this international business for contributing to other agents' growth to help them sell a lot more real estate through leadership and systems, would I pay $3,000 a year to buy an international business? If I was at my real estate company, but I could own this international business, would I pay $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 a year more for that? And I think it's financially irresponsible not to take a look at it and really dive deep into those numbers.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just to reiterate two things, two of your points there, Tony. First and foremost, we're not talking about some get rich quick scheme, right? We're talking about something that takes work and effort, but mostly is sharing and blessing other agents who are on the same treadmill that we've been on, right? It's really just about helping them have an opportunity to do better for themselves and their family. And then the second thing is, you're right. You better take a minute and really look at this closely, right? I heard another leader, a newer agent to EXP, but a pretty well-known trainer, Lars Hedenberg, recently talking about people need to get serious about taking a look and unpacking what this model really means and what it's doing for agents' lives and their families' lives. I think there's a lot of folks who hear about this and have heard it too many times and are not really paying attention to what we are really saying here. But it's important now for you and your family to stop and take a look at this at a deeper level and understand what is really happening here. And so you make some great points, Tony. And man, again, I thank you so much for your time. I thank you for your friendship. And
absolutely. Can I close with this, Scott? Can I close with something real quick?
Absolutely.
So as a real estate professional for our children, would we tell them to buy a property and invest in something they own, or to rent a property for the next 5, 10, 15, or 20 years? There's not another company where you have ownership the way you have here. You're literally renting time. On your transaction, you're paying rent to hang your license with that broker or for that broker's physical space or whatever it may be. So if we're not investing in our real estate that way, why would we be investing in our careers that way?
Right. Well said. Well said. All right, Tony. Well, thank you again so much. I appreciate you taking the time. And, our friendship here is a perfect example of the collaboration that goes on every day inside of EXP. You and I, our paths would have never crossed had we not been inside this platform and inside of this company, which is just, man, I'm so grateful. And
thank you for having me. And thank you for everyone who watched. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, and congrats again, Tony, on the success with everyone there and your team, and looking forward to hearing that update here. Let's call it maybe 6 months. We'll get a 6-month update. See how that safety net is looking.
Thanks, Scott. Be well. Take care, my friend.
Okay, Tony. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. See you soon, everyone.